Welcome out to the show, guys. This is Studio 321. This is your podcast host, Eddie B. So just when you thought that Trump couldn't drive the Democrats any more crazy, well, they're just going off. They're off the shelf. So basically what Trump said today was he said he wanted to take the Gaza Strip and control it, right? Because of the war over there, it was all tore up.
U.S. President Donald Trump made a shocking announcement. Contrary to initial plans, Phase 3 of the Gaza ceasefire, reconstruction, is unlikely. Instead, Trump envisions something different.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, will own it, and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site. I do see a long-term ownership position, and I see it bringing great stability to that part of the Middle East.
And so here's the deal. All the surrounding countries over there are pissed off now, and the Democrats are saying that, you can't do it. It's against international law and all this other stuff. But you know how Trump is. I think there's a hidden message in all of this, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. But for those of you who don't know where the Gaza Strip is, let me just give you a little little history on that. So the Gaza Strip, it's 140 square miles of land, roughly the size of Manhattan, okay? It's between Israel and the ocean. It's just a little strip. It's basically beachfront property, okay? Population like 2.1 million people, majority Palestinians. And that's where they've been having the problem with, because of basically Hamas, which is the terrorist group that has problems with Israel. They control the Palestinian people. So, that whole Gaza Strip is considered Palestinian territory. However, that area doesn't have a government. They have no official, leadership in a certain way. So what's happening is, because of the conflict between, Israel and Hamas, 60% of the buildings and structures in the Gaza Strip have been completely destroyed, okay? 70% of the infrastructure for electricity and water and sewage has been completely destroyed. So it's uninhabitable. You really can't live there unless you're living like, cave people. So a lot of the Palestinians were driven out of the area as refugees because of the conflict. Well, now that the conflict is, grinding to an end, there's nothing left to come back to. It's just rubble. And, the pictures of it are horrendous. So basically what Trump is saying is, somebody's going to have to foot the bill to rebuild this place. Well, there's no official government there to do that. Again, the Palestinians don't have an official government. So who's going to pay for it? And I don't know what that kind of rebuild cost would incur. It's got to be, hundreds of billions of dollars. I don't think any of the surrounding countries want to foot that bill. So what Trump is suggesting is that America take control of the Gaza Strip, relocate all the Palestinians who were living there. Some, half could go to Jordan, I believe, and half could go to maybe Saudi Arabia. And, they have Palestinian populations anyways. So I think, that's kind of like the idea is they could blend in over there. So, and then once those people are resettled in these other areas, they could bring in some American money, rebuild the Gaza Strip. He always says it in his crazy way. He's talking about turning it into like a resort area with beautiful hotels and all this stuff. Well, that's what he's saying, but what I think he's actually trying to do is I think he's trying to get some of the countries over there on board with pitching in to rebuild it themselves, because this is the thing. They don't want Western influence over there, okay? They hate Israel is about the most Western influence they have over there, and the Arabs hate Israel. So having America own the Gaza Strip and being over there constantly, that would just be one more thing of Western influence that the Arabs do not want. So what I believe Trump is doing by saying this is, he's motivating these other countries in the area, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, all those countries, maybe to get together and say, hey, why don't we each pitch in this amount of money? We'll rebuild it under a coalition, and then whoever, they can always come to terms on who's going to regulate the area, but it'll keep America out of our area. And I think that's what Trump is ultimately pressing for, because he's always hiding his true intentions, and he comes out with all that shock value stuff. But of course the Democrats are going crazy over it, talking about it's against international law and all this stuff, and they've been going absolutely nuts lately anyways. You got Bernie talking about baby onesies, and Maxine Waters was screaming yesterday, looked like her face was about to melt off her body. And then some other ladies calling for violence in the streets. I mean, the Democrats are going nuts. But the truth is, if Trump can get these other countries to join together and pay the bill on rebuilding Gaza to keep America out of the area, that's a win. Because what will happen is, Saudi Arabia has all that oil money, and they could easily pay the bill on this. You get them together, obviously the United States is going to want to broker that deal somewhat, try to get everybody on the same page, but kind of oversee it. But you let the Middle Eastern countries rebuild it, so they have the influence on it now. Also, if Saudi Arabia puts up the money to rebuild it, then they're going to want to protect their own interests in that area. So they're not going to allow the same terrorist groups to come back in and just start taking over, causing problems, because then it's going to be affecting their money. So you're basically bringing somebody in, to police that area. Because let's face it, if nobody does anything and then the area just repopulates right now, it's going to take 50 years for that to come back to looking like a normal area, because those people don't have any money. They can't rebuild these buildings and stuff. There's no insurance, none of that. So if they come back in now, it's going to be 50 years until that city is rebuilt correctly. Okay, and it just that won't be any good for the area, and honestly, it won't be good for the Palestinian people either. Now Trump is basically saying, look, we'll go in, we'll put the money up, we'll rebuild the whole area. We'll create a lot of jobs, and that, I mean, in a way, could work. But I don't think that's the plan. I think the plan is to get the other countries that are in that region to put up the money, get it done, so they can oversee it, and they'll also have a money interest in it, because Saudi Arabia has, for the most part, become one of our decent allies over there. They've got a lot of money. They're probably more of the westernized countries over there. They're all about business and making money. It's, they're not so ideologically driven that like some of these other countries are. So, but yeah, I think it's going to be, it's an interesting idea, and we'll see what happens. I suspect over the next month or so, you're going to see Saudi Arabia and maybe Jordan and another couple countries basically have a meeting and say, look, we're going to pay for it. The United States is going to oversee it, and then we'll police it in the end. And I think that would probably be good. Otherwise, it's just going to sit in ruins for the next 50 years. But anyways, guys, if you like my video, please like and subscribe. Studio 321, I'm your podcast host, Eddie B. Talk to you soon. Have a good night.